That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
Alright guys, every single season we know that there are running backs that come out and that get hot going into the fantasy football playoffs and single-handedly win fantasy managers their leagues. This year, I think that there are 5 guys that we could be looking at to doing just that. This is going to be very similar to what we saw with Miles Sanders back in 2019, where at the very beginning of the season, you were unable to play him, but really, he gained that role going into weeks 14, 15, 16. When he got that role, he thrived. He was able to go out there and get 3-down production, a ton of points for your starting lineup. Now, I think that we have 5 guys that could fit this mold. And as always, drop that like, but also go down to the comment section. Even if you don't have your own fantasy football question to ask, go down there and see if there are any fantasy football questions that you think that you could answer, because your opinion is just as valuable as mine. We are all a part of the flock. We are all trying to gear our teams up for the fantasy football playoffs. So go down to that comment section and try to see if you can answer some other questions. All right, so now let's get into it. And our first running back is going to be someone that I loved coming into this season. We had him as our running back 1 going into the NFL draft, DeAndre Swift. Now with DeAndre Swift, he is stepping up into a role for the Detroit Lions where he truly looks like he is going to be a workhorse running back. Now I know we have not seen DeAndre Swift play in a couple weeks due to that concussion, but guys, I want to remind y'all, the last week that we got from DeAndre Swift is the first week where he was announced as the team's starting running back, and he came away with 16 carries, which is not a lot, but it definitely led the team by a wide margin. But what's impressive is the 5 receptions and almost 150 total yards, also coming away with a touchdown. Here with DeAndre Swift, I think that we have to be extremely excited about not only the talent profile, but now the usage that he's seeing in this offense as well. And with a head coaching change, I think that that coach comes in, looks at the overall talent profile of the backfield, really understands that we need to be getting the ball to DeAndre Swift. I mean, we're done with these Adrian Peterson meaningless carries. When DeAndre Swift is the most talented back, he should be seeing the most usage. I think it's clear to anybody who watches the game of football, the athletic profile that DeAndre Swift has, the ability to catch passes. If this offense can get a little bit better, knowing Kenny Galladay's coming back as well, DeAndre Swift could easily be a mid to high-end running back 1. I'm going to be very high on him compared to consensus. And now our next running back that y'all know we loved this summer. If you were following us when we were covering our Dynasty Fantasy Football Leagues, Antonio Gibson was someone that I got so much hate for this summer. I was always saying that Antonio Gibson was the most talented running back in Washington, that he was going to beat out Darius Guy straight up. Now, obviously, that did not happen. Darius Guy got kicked out of the NFL as he deserved. Regardless, with Antonio Gibson, we are finally getting to see that talent on display, that elite athletic profile. And what's amazing about Antonio Gibson is not only is he going out there scoring 3 touchdowns, 5 receptions, over 20 carries, and 130 yards. Here, Antonio Gibson was actually a former wide receiver at Memphis, which I'm sure y'all have heard a million times by now. But the importance of it is we know that Antonio Gibson is still learning the running back position. So this is Antonio Gibson's pretty much like 4th month playing the running back position at the NFL level, playing the running back position at all. So if he's already demonstrating this kind of ability, I think that we would be naive to not expect Antonio Gibson to go out there and to continue to progress in this Washington offense. What's most important about that game on Thanksgiving, in my opinion, is Antonio Gibson going out there and getting the usage in the receiving game, which I've been saying all season now, that we knew Antonio Gibson had the talent profile to do so based on his receiving history at Memphis. We were just waiting for the coaching staff to stop giving the ball to J.D. McKissic out of that backfield. J.D. McKissic provides you nothing that you do not get with Antonio Gibson, plus some. So here with Antonio Gibson, I think he's another guy that can go from being someone that was on your bench to now being a low-end running back 1. If you were plugging Antonio Gibson into your lineup, possibly as your running back 3 in your flag spot, I mean, your opponents have to be scared. Now, our next running back, someone that was a clear running back 1 all season, but now I think that he is the clear number 1 overall running back, Derrick Henry coming off a game where he saw almost 30 total touches, coming off a game where he saw almost 200 total yards and 3 touchdowns in 1 half. And what's also very impressive about this Derrick Henry performance is this was done against a good Indianapolis Colts defense. I don't think there's going to be anybody on the planet that's going to argue that that Indianapolis Colts defense is not one of the better defenses in the entire NFL. And if you look at the rest of season schedule for Derrick Henry, it is a cakewalk. I mean, Derrick Henry is going to have no problem going out there and just being completely dominant like we have seen him be so many times before. So I think with Henry, this is going to be a running back that we are just looking as the #1 option, no questions asked. Y'all know I ranked him as our #1 rest of season running back a week ago, and we got a ton of hate for it. People coming out telling me I was stupid, that it needed to be Dalvin Cook, that it needed to be Alvin Kamara, anybody but Derrick Henry. But here we are, and I just want to say, take that L. How does it taste? Because Derrick Henry is that clear #1 option, and if you do not have Derrick Henry, good luck. You better have some other running backs on this list. All right, so now our next running back, going right back to the rookie position. Another guy that has not seen game action in a couple weeks now, J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins, 15 carries, 85 yards, a touchdown, and 2 receptions the last time that we saw him in action. In that last game, we actually saw J.K. Dobbins take full control of this backfield, taking away almost every single touch from both Mark Ingram and Gus Edwards. So here with J.K. Dobbins, I think as soon as he can get off that COVID list, as soon as the Baltimore Ravens get back on track, we are going to be expecting him to put up high-end running back 2 numbers, which, yes, is not going to be anything close to Derrick Henry. But if you were taking that running back off the waiver wire a few weeks ago, if you were getting J.K. Dobbins on the very cheap in trades, we know that the rest of your team is most likely stacked. So very similar to the situation in which I said with Antonio Gibson, where you could possibly be looking at yourself putting J.K. Dobbins into your flex spot. If he's going to see anywhere from 15 to 25 touches in the Baltimore Ravens offense, we know he's going to be extremely efficient because, yes, Lamar Jackson is not necessarily the best passer in the NFL, but what he is a great rushing quarterback where when he goes to hand the ball off to J.K. Dobbins, the linebackers cannot crash in on Dobbins. They're going to have to sit there. They're going to have to make sure Lamar Jackson is not coming off the edge. We've also seen J.K. Dobbins already this season get that usage at the goal line, also get targets out of the backfield. We know that he has that elite athletic profile coming out of Ohio State. He was a bell cow running back at Ohio State with Justin Fields. So everything that you were looking at with J.K. Dobbins is truly an emerging running back that can single-handedly win you your league. All right, so now our last running back, Austin Ekeler, with Ekeler coming out and handling a massive workload in the receiving game. His first week back from injury, 13 carries, 11 receptions, 129 total yards. So this is what we love with the receiving running backs, where even though Austin Ekeler did not come away with the touchdown, he was still able to go out there and put up about 24 fantasy points. I mean, you were not seeing that anywhere else. I mean, if you have a running back very similar to a Nick Chubb, you are not getting 24 fantasy points unless they score that touchdown. Here, if Ekeler goes out there and has this same type of usage where he's getting this many targets out of the backfield, and then he provides you a touchdown on top of that, Austin Ekeler is going to be a running back that your other fantasy owners in your league, the other players in the playoffs, are going to have an extremely hard time catching up with. And this is all not even to mention that Austin Ekeler has a great fantasy football playoff schedule. On top of that, Austin Ekeler is playing in an offense that should be a lot more productive than it was this past week, with Justin Herbert providing us one of the best rookie quarterback seasons that we have ever seen. So there is a laundry list of reasons why we should be excited about Austin Ekeler, and we could easily see him being a league-winning running back, especially if you went out there and you traded for him a few weeks ago while he was injured on the cheap. Now, thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I really hope y'all got something from it. As always, if y'all did, go down there, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. It really, really helps us out. And also, I want to reiterate, please, guys, it's so important now that we are closing in on the fantasy football playoffs that we are doing everything that we can to get our edges over our league mates. So please go down to the comment section. If you have any question, feel free to ask. And guys, also go down there, and if you see any questions that are unanswered, go and give your opinion. We are all working together to dominate our leagues. So go down there, join the flock, and start talking with the other members and start giving them your opinion, because it is very valuable.